Ever stand out into the stars and just, I don't know, feel totally insignificant?
Yeah, like your problems just kind of shrink away when you see the vastness of it all.
Exactly. It's awe-inspiring. And that feeling, that's what we're going to explore today, the power of awe, specifically in science fiction.
I love it. And I think Interstellar is the perfect film to guide us.
Totally agree. It's visually stunning, but also intellectually stimulating.
Right, it makes you think.
So to really dig in, we got some fascinating sources today. Academic papers on the sublime, that feeling of being overwhelmed by something grand.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Also, psychology research on awe itself. And to capture how audiences actually felt, we'll look at some film reviews.
Mm,
Buckle up. It's about to get deep.
I'm ready. So, what I find fascinating about Interstellar is how it taps into this old idea from philosophy, the sublime. It's not just about special effects.
Mmm, sublime. Sounds a little fancy. Can you break that down for us?
Well, think about the feeling of beauty, like a sunset, a painting. It's harmonious, right? The sublime's kind of similar, but instead of harmony, it's about vastness, power, things that are almost too much for our brains to handle.
So beauty is a balanced scale, and the sublime is like the scale shattering because what you're experiencing is just too massive.
Exactly. It's been puzzling philosophers for ages. Like way back in ancient Greece, there was this guy, Longinus. He was fascinated by how even words, speeches, could make you feel totally overwhelmed, almost speechless in the face of something grand.
And Stellar definitely does that, not just with words, but visually. Like right from the start, that dust storm, it's terrifying and awe-inspiring at the same time, the scale of it.
Brilliant example. And Nolan just keeps layering those moments, the massive waves on that ocean planet, those icy landscapes. It's like a visual textbook on the sublime.
And it's not just what you see. The silence of space in the film.
Oh yeah, that gets to you.
It's so effective. You feel the emptiness, the void.
And then Zimmer's score kicks in. The way he uses the organ, it just adds to that sense of grandeur. You don't just hear it, you feel it.
It gives me chills every time.
Hmm.
But I think there's more to awe than just being overwhelmed, right? It changes us somehow.
Absolutely. That's where psychology comes in. Researchers, folks like Keltner and Haidt, break awe down into two parts. First is that vastness, the scale we've been talking about.
And Interstellar hammers that home visually. The tiny endurance against Saturn or those huge planets.
It makes it feel small, doesn't it?
It really does.
Like, instantly puts things in perspective. One film review even talked about how those shots move the writer to tears. Just that sense of scale, powerful filmmaking.
I get that. Wow. Okay, so vastness is one part. What's the other?
It's this need for accommodation. And this is where it gets really interesting. When something awe-inspiring makes you rethink how the world works, like, wait, that's possible. I need to rethink everything. Interstellar does this so well. Remember Romilly before they go through the wormhole? He's terrified. Cooper tries to comfort him with sounds of rain, thunder, like grounding them in the
Oh,
familiar.
that's such a good detail.
Right, it shows how we try to make sense of crazy stuff by connecting it to what we know. Then there's that wormhole itself. Visually, it's mind-blowing, but even after seeing it, Romilly has to explain how it works because it bends our understanding of physics.
It makes sense. Our brains are trying to catch up.
Yeah.
So vastness and this need for accommodation, those make awe. And I feel like science fiction as a genre, it really excels at this. It makes you rethink what's possible.
For sure. Reminds me of this science fiction theory called cognitive estrangement by this scholar, Darko Subin.
Cognitive estrangement. Lay that on me.
Basically, seeing our own world as strange, unfamiliar because of what science fiction shows us. It's like the genre is holding up a mirror saying, what if things were different? And there's also this thing, the novum.
Okay, more jargon. What's that?
The novum is that new element, the thing that makes a science fiction story unique. Could be a gadget, a social change, a scientific discovery, anything that breaks the rules of what we think can happen.
So, in Interstellar, the wormhole, the black hole, time travel, those are the novum elements.
You got it. And those are what create that sense of wonder that cognitive estrangement Savan talked about. They make you reevaluate what you thought was possible.
And this isn't just some theory, right? This relates to how astronauts feel when they see Earth from space, the overview effect.
Exactly. Astronauts often describe a profound shift when they look back at our planet, a deep connection to Earth, awe at its beauty and fragility.
And even though Interstellar is fictional, it creates that similar feeling, right? The shots of Earth from space, realizing how small and vulnerable we are.
Definitely taps into that same space. And it brings up another thing about awe. It can be positive, wonder and inspiration, but also have a negative, even fearful side.
Like looking at a huge storm. It's beautiful, but also kind of scary.
Exactly. And in science fiction, that darker side of awe often comes out as fear of the unknown, the vastness of space, the possibility of alien life, awe-inspiring and terrifying at the same time.
Okay, so that leads us to the really mind-bending stuff. Wormholes, black holes, the Tesseract. How does Interstellar handle this science fiction sublime, as we might call it?
Well, firstly, it's presented both visually and intellectually. Take the wormhole scene. You
Ah.
get stunning visuals of the swirling vortex, but then Romilly explaining the science behind it.
They give you the wow factor, but then try to explain it logically, even if it's still mind-blowing.
Right. It's also crazy to think that Interstellar showed a black hole 5 years before scientists could actually capture an image of one. Talk about pushing boundaries.
That is wild. Okay, and what about the Tesseract? That's where my brain just melted. How do you even begin to explain that?
Remember Tars explaining it? He says, a three-dimensional space inside their five-dimensional reality, which even now is hard to grasp.
No kidding. 5 dimensions. Whoa.
But that's part of why it's so sublime, right? Being overwhelmed by something you just can't fully understand. It's confusing, but fascinating.
You don't get it, but you're in awe of it. So awe can be positive, negative, mind-bending. But research says it can make us better people.
Yeah, that's what's so cool about it. Aw's been linked to more altruism, more compassion, feeling connected to something bigger.
So feeling small makes you care more about the world around you.
Think about it. Have you ever been inspired to act for a cause after a powerful experience, like seeing a documentary or witnessing incredible kindness? That feeling of wanting to make a difference, that can come from awe.
That makes a lot of sense. So how does Interstellar show this awe leading to altruism?
Well, look at Cooper's sacrifices. He leaves his family not knowing if he'll see them again to maybe save humanity. He even stays in the black hole so Brand can reach Edmund's planet and start a new colony.
Those are huge sacrifices.
Yeah.
And it's like the film makes love this force that goes beyond dimensions, more powerful than time and space.
Exactly. Some hard science fiction fans weren't sold on that, but I think it adds this emotional layer. Awe, combined with love, drives us to do incredible things.
The awe of the universe makes you realize how precious life is. And love gives you the motivation to protect it, even if it costs you personally.
Right. And remember how the film plays with that whole friendly aliens thing? We thought the bulk beings were helping humanity.
The force behind the wormhole, the Tesseract.
Yeah, but they weren't aliens. It was us, future humans, evolved beyond our understanding of time.
Mind. Blown. So not aliens saving us, but humanity's own ingenuity and maybe even love that saves the day.
Powerful message, right? Even against crazy odds, we can solve our own problems, create a better future.
It is inspiring. But before we get too deep into that, we focused on the good side of awe. What about the downsides? I mean, we mentioned fear, but are there other things to watch out for?
You bring up a good point. Like anything powerful, awe can be misused. Some research suggests it can make people more prone to manipulation or groupthink.
Really? So feeling overwhelmed and insignificant might make you more likely to follow someone, even if they're wrong.
That's the idea, like too much of a good thing and all that. We need to approach awe with critical thinking.
So don't just follow the crowd, even if they're all staring at the sky in wonder.
Exactly. Question your assumptions, even when you're feeling awestruck. Awe is about expanding our understanding of the world, not letting it shrink to fit someone else's agenda.
It's not just about feeling awe, it's about thinking about what's causing it, what the consequences could be.
I think that's a great point. That's where the true power of awe lies. It challenges us to grow, to learn, to be better, but we have to use it wisely.
Whoa. Getting philosophical here. But seriously, this deep dive has been amazing. Awe, the sublime science fiction. Who knew there was so much to this?
It's wild how much we can learn from just one film.
Right. Interstellar shows how art can make you think, feel, question your place in the universe. It's not just entertainment.
And maybe it can inspire us to be a little more awesome ourselves.
Nice one. Okay, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm curious. We've talked about awe in science fiction, but what about other examples in art? Different genres, mediums?
Oh, there are so many. Think about classical music. A symphony by Beethoven or Mahler, it can evoke such grandeur, such transcendence, or visual art.
Yeah, like those huge Renaissance paintings. You feel tiny standing in front of them.
Exactly, or the details of a Gothic cathedral. Then there's nature itself, the Grand Canyon, a starry night sky, all awe-inspiring.
It's like awe is everywhere if we just open ourselves to it.
And sometimes it finds us. A random act of kindness, meeting a stranger, small moments can have a huge impact.
It's not about seeking it out, but being present, appreciating the beauty around us.
Well said. I think that's a good place to pause for now. It's kind of funny how that feeling of awe, that wonder, it can just kind of sneak up on you in the most unexpected places.
You just made me think of something. We were talking about science fiction and those novum elements, the stuff that makes you rethink the impossible. But doesn't that feeling fade after a while? Like once you know the twist, the magic's kind of gone.
Oh, that's a really good point. Think about it when you rewatch a favorite sci-fi film.
Yeah.
That first shock, that I can't believe this feeling, it's not as strong the second time, is it?
So true.
Yeah.
Like with Interstellar, the first time my mind was blown. But watching it again, I still love it. But that initial awe, it's just not there. The novelty wears off.
Exactly. It's like anything, really. People living near Mount Everest probably don't feel the same awe as someone seeing it for the first time. Familiarity takes the edge off.
So to really keep experiencing awe,
Yeah.
you got to keep seeking out new stuff, new perspectives, new ways of looking at the world.
You nailed it. And that's where science fiction shines. It's always pushing for something new, exploring new ideas. It makes you step outside your comfort zone, imagine the unimaginable, embrace the unknown, find that fresh sense of wonder.
But embracing the unknown, that can also be a little, well, scary, right? We talked about the fear that comes with awe, that darker side.
Absolutely. Remember that storm analogy?
Yeah, beautiful and powerful, but also kind of dangerous.
It's that duality of awe, and science fiction loves to play with that. It shows you the amazing potential of the universe, but also hints at the dangers out there.
Like a cosmic roller coaster. Thrilling and scary all at once. But that's part of the excitement, I guess.
Like a roller coaster, you get off a little shaky, disoriented, but ultimately feeling alive.
Okay, I'm ready for that ride. So where do we go from here? How do we find more of that awe in everyday life?
Well, the good news is awe is everywhere. Nature, art, music, even small acts of kindness. The trick is to be open to it. Be curious and open to wonder.
So it's about really paying attention, like actually taking the time to appreciate a sunset or a snowflake.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone. Explore new ideas, new places, new cultures. You never know where you'll find that next awe-inspiring experience.
Love that. It's not about waiting for some big event. It's about finding the extraordinary in the ordinary.
And realizing how vast and interconnected everything is. We're all part of something bigger than ourselves, and that's pretty awe-inspiring in itself.
We're just tiny specks of stardust on this giant rock hurtling through space.
And who knows what's out there waiting to be discovered? The possibilities are endless.
Now that's something to be in awe of.
Absolutely. Okay, before we blast off into the cosmos, I want to go back to something we talked about earlier. The downsides of awe, how it can make people vulnerable to manipulation. But if awe can also make us more altruistic, compassionate, connected, why aren't we trying to make it more central to our lives, our schools, politics? Why aren't we using this powerful emotion for good?
That's a fantastic question. Really important, too. I think there's a lot of potential there that we haven't explored.
Imagine if instead of feeling overwhelmed by the world's problems, we felt empowered to solve them. Like tapping into that awe-inspired feeling of purpose and possibility.
Exactly. You're right. It's like awe could be the thing that sparks our imaginations and leads us to a better future.
That's definitely something worth thinking about. And I think discussions like this are a good start.
Well, on that note, I think we've reached peak awesomeness for one episode.
I think you might be right. We've covered a lot. The sublime, the psychology of awe, and how Interstellar brings it all together.
We have. And a huge thank you to everyone listening. We hope you've learned something new, felt a little bit of that awe-inspired wonder, and maybe even been inspired to find a little more awe in your own lives.
Remember, stay curious, keep exploring, and never lose your sense of wonder because like we learned today, awe is all around us, just waiting to be discovered.
Beautifully said. Until next time, keep exploring. Well, it's amazing how much ground we've covered in this deep dive, from ancient philosophy to modern psychology, all the way to Interstellar. It's been a journey.
It really has. And for me, the biggest takeaway is how Interstellar, even as fiction, manages to capture something really true about being human.
Totally. I think that's why people connect with it so strongly. It's not just about spaceships and wormholes. It's about those things that make us human. Our curiosity, our fear, the way we love and sacrifice, and, that need we all have to make sense of the universe.
Beautifully put. It's that desire to understand, to push the limits of what we know that's driven us for centuries.
And speaking of pushing limits, it makes you wonder what kind of awe-inspiring discoveries are still out there. I mean, we can already take pictures of black holes, send robots to Mars. Who knows what's next?
It's mind-blowing to think about, and I think it's that sense of wonder, that awe of the unknown that keeps us moving forward.
Because like the more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know. It's humbling and exciting at the same time.
Exactly. Like we're standing at the edge of a vast ocean, and every new discovery is like setting sail into uncharted territory.
And who knows what we'll find? New life forms, the secrets of dark matter, maybe even time travel.
Now you're back in science fiction territory. But seriously, who knows what the future holds? The one thing we can be sure of is that the universe is full of surprises. We're not done exploring yet.
And that's what makes it so awe-inspiring, right? Being part of this huge, mysterious cosmos with so much left to uncover.
Absolutely. And I think that feeling of awe, being connected to something so much bigger than ourselves, that can give us the strength to face whatever challenges come our way.
Because let's face it, there are challenges. Climate change, injustice, all the division in the world. Sometimes it feels like too much.
It's true. But if we can hold on to that awe, remember we're all in this together, part of something much bigger, maybe we can overcome those challenges and build a better future.
I love that. It's like instead of letting the problems drag us down, we can use them to tap into our collective awe and work together to find solutions.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe in the process, we'll make amazing discoveries, break through barriers we thought were impossible.
I'm all in. Okay, I think it's time to wrap up this incredible deep dive. It's been awesome exploring the power of awe with you.
Feeling is mutual. It's always exciting to talk about these big ideas and how they show up in art, science, everywhere.
Huge thanks to everyone listening for joining us on this journey. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
And remember, stay curious, keep exploring, never lose your sense of wonder, because as we've learned, awe is all around us, just waiting to be found.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And on that note, we'll leave you with one last thought. What awe-inspiring experiences are waiting for you out there?
Go find them.
Until next time, keep looking up.